Hey everyone, welcome back to Redbanditracing. Welcome back to the channel. We got the X-Maxx here. As you guys can see, we got some brand new batteries from Gen's Ace Bashing. These are the 4S. These are some pretty big batteries. Actually, they're smaller in size compared to the Traxxas ones, but they offer a lot more power. Now, to get these to work, we're gonna have to switch over the Traxxas high output plugs with the IC5s. So we're gonna do that in this video. Also, we're gonna fix a big issue that we've been having. We are going to put some upgrades on. We got the Vitavon Mod 1.5 gears. I'm gonna go with the 2035s and we're gonna see how this works. I'm not sure what the temps are gonna be because I'm trying to get this as close as possible to a Mod 1 2046, which is actually pretty high. I don't wanna go too high. I don't want the motor temps too high. I wanna be able to do some backflips, do some good bashing, but I'm not trying to go nuts. So we're gonna see how this works. Now, this may not work with the Bauhaus motor mount. So if it does not work, we have the Vitavon motor mount. What I like about this motor mount is it does give you the bracket for the fans. I want to try the motor mounts that a subscriber sent to us from Bash On Hobbies. I want to see if those are going to fit right, so we're going to check that also. But the only reason why I do like this, because obviously this is meant for it. So we are going to test it in this video. We're going to give it a rip. We're not going to give it a big rip. I just want to see what it sounds like, how it feels, how it sounds, and hopefully everything works out well. So let's just jump right into it. Let's go over some of the parts. We do have the hot racing chassis bag. I'm not going to use this just yet. I'm going to make sure that everything actually runs right before I install this. But this is a great add-on. We got the ProTech RC aluminum fans. These are the 40 by 40 by 10. These are the high output fans, so this should work great. Here's the Vitavon motor mount. Now I chose black. They do have aluminum, red, and I think it's orange. Quote me if I'm wrong, I think it's orange, but I like the black one. I like the top fan mount, actually carbon fiber. Looks pretty cool. And obviously we got the 2035 Mod 1.5 gears. We'll throw those in. And let's go check out the batteries real quick because I have not opened these up yet. Let's get these out of the box. Ooh, these are definitely nice, but these are rated at 120C. This should offer a lot of punch. Really nice. And of course, I got two of them. Really nice design. And I like the hard shell because I just feel like they're more protected and they're gonna get damaged less. Now, these are the G-Tech, so they are the smart batteries. They have the smart connector right here, which works great with our DMARS battery charger. Really easy to set up, really easy to charge. These are gonna be a great battery. All right, with that being said, let's get the X-Maxx up here. Let's go ahead and take the motor mount out and get this set up and see what's gonna fit, what's not gonna fit. All right, first things first, let's go ahead and carefully unplug the motor. Now I got that, let's go ahead and flip this over. Okay, got the motor out. We're gonna have to clean this up a little bit. Let's go ahead and take out the spur gear. Usually you can pop that straight up. Pop this guy out right there. Go ahead and put this aside for a second. All right, so now we got our motor here and our spur gear. Look at that. These teeth, wow, these are knurled. They don't look good at all, guys. Pull this apart. Let's look at this one. Ooh, look at that. These teeth are destroyed. I don't know if you guys can see it, but the teeth aren't flat. It's actually angled this way, if you guys can see that. That would have to be because of the flex of this. With the motor flexing it, it looks like maybe flexing it downwards. And having that support on there is extremely important just for this reason. All right, let's get this opened up. I'm trying to find the GPM mount, but guys, I can't find it. I have so much stuff on these shelves now. This is much, I'm gonna tell you right now, this is probably 3 times the size of GPMs. Vitavon is not messing around. Here's the spur gear. This is the 46 Mod 1, and here's a Mod 1.5. Look how big that is. Look at the pinion. This is so funny. I've never thought I'd be using gears like this. And if you guys haven't noticed, this is D-shaped. So it will go straight on. Ooh, that's gonna be 2.5. It's gonna go on just like that. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make sure there's Loctite on there and on the shaft. Now this is the Bauhaus motor mount. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna leave this on and I wanna see where these gears line up. But what we gotta do first is we gotta get this set up. So this is actually fairly simple. So you get your shaft, you're gonna put your pin in, then you have your transmission output gear, throw your bearing on the back. Then you're gonna put your other bearing through here, it's your other support bearing. This is also D-shaped, which is great. I'll lock that in right there. And this is how it's gonna go in. So that's how it's gonna look. So let's go and put this in before we do anything else. This is pretty much just getting put away. All right, so we're gonna drop this in. Now, I'm probably gonna have to take it back out because I'm definitely gonna be putting some Loctite. But for right now, let's get it in here. Yeah, I wanted to make sure I had that in right. I believe that faces down because this flat spot right here, I think that allows the motor mount to move. Kind of just have to push it down right there, let it drop in. And as you guys saw, you're gonna have to take that plate off. It's like a deflector plate. Probably keeps the debris off the drive shaft right there. But as you can see, that's in. But we're gonna drop the motor in just because I wanna see how this is gonna sit in here with the motor. Automatic, I can tell you right now, not gonna fit. You guys can see it probably right there. There's no movement. You're not gonna be able to move this motor around. So we're gonna have to switch the motor mounts. I rather have control of all the gears that go into my car. So I'm gonna take this out. Great motor mount, definitely saving this. It does come with the, let's see here. What screws are these? Ooh, look at those screws. Look at that. Ooh, this is light. They almost feel the same weight. All right, for now, let's go ahead and take this fan mount off. And there's our motor mount. It's already got the screws put in. I wonder what size screws these are. Just about the same size. So great. Don't have to worry about those. They're a little bit longer, but they'll fit just fine. And yes, ooh, look at that. Yes, I get very excited really easily about some of this stuff. You're only gonna be using I wanna say two of these screws. So it looks like you're only gonna be using two of these screw holes, which is, it's fine. It's not ideal. And they do give you these screws. So we'll go ahead and throw a couple of these in. All right, so I just used the original screws from the other motor mount because they sit in just fine. The ones that they come with, far too long. They're not gonna go all the way in. You're just gonna bottom out of the motor. The cool thing is if you're adjusted all the way up, you can almost put a couple extra screws in here to lock this down so it won't move. All right, so as you guys can see, I had to make some modifications. Now with this motor mount set in, right about there, and the ESC in, there's no room. This ESC was touching the motor. It's because of how big the front of this bracket is. So the motor mount. So what I had to do was I had to figure a way out to move the ESC forward, but you can't because when the antenna case is on, this front cover, it protrudes out. I had to find some way to get this either up and over that piece or on that piece. I don't have an exact fix for it yet, but I thought, you know what? Let's take some of these dividers from a parts organizer and cut it up. So what I did was I tried this one. See that piece right there? Just shaved it down, notched it out for the sides, drilled some holes, and thought, okay, what about that one? Well, didn't like that because I wanted to go back a little bit more. Otherwise the ESC hangs off and I have to have room to clear the antenna. Let's try this one. So I tried this type, which goes in between these two bars underneath where that is right there. I decided to go with that route, but I made these a little bit too big, so I had to shave them down a little bit. So we came up with this. Get these connectors out of here. Put it right there, which I don't mind if it's touching the antenna, and we just kind of hope that this is going to hold it. But it just depends on, see, that pulled right up. We have to come up with a different motor mount, guys. Mesh is way too tight. That's actually not bad. All right, so as you guys saw, this is just not gonna work. It's not sticking. This was just an attempt to see if this would work, but I need something more permanent. Only other company I see that makes a fix for this is M2C. I'm gonna have to replace it with an M2C ESC plate. So I'm gonna see what they got. I might get the motor mount just to compare all of them and seeing which route I'm gonna go. So I'm about to go order that stuff. It's probably gonna take about a week or two to get the parts. So it'll take a little bit for me, but it'll be just a second for you guys. So I'll be back. All right, so I did get the new parts. I got here the M2C motor mount and the M2C ESC plate. All these parts will be in the description. This is the M2C 1114X series, and the motor mount is gonna be the 1100X series motor mount. Let's go and open this up, and we are going to talk about this at the end of the video because there are a lot of different motor mounts that you can use. I know I've kind of jumped back and forth between a couple of these, but I got to find the right one that fits. That way I can at least give you guys the correct information in case you guys are going down the same path. At least you guys will be ordering the right parts. So we got the motor mount right there. ESC plate, which I may tell you, I love M2C parts because of how nice their parts are. This is such good quality. Now, the reason why I got the motor mount instead of just the plate, because I'm not sure with these ears sticking out if I can use the Vitavon motor mount. Now on the, see, I'm not even sure if I can even use the Bauhaus. I will be going over this, but yeah, you see what I'm saying? When this goes on top, this might be hitting. But the reason why I got this and the motor mount is because this actually works with this and it reinforces the chassis and it helps with a lot of the flex. So I want to try it. And I looked more into their motor mount. They make an amazing way to check your mesh. And we're going to have to go with that. We're going to have to check that out. And we're going to have to see how this is actually going to work. Now, with the motor mount, you're going to get this little lanyard right here that comes with a tool and a lot of screws. You're going to come with this lanyard right here. To adjust the mesh, you're going to put this tool in here. You screw it in just like that. When this bracket is in the car, you take this the ball on the end of that right there and slide it through this hole. It's kind of stuck in there. That's why they give you a slot. Look how cool that is. You can adjust your mesh just with that. Then what you're going to do is while that's in there, you're going to tighten your screws on the side. And then once that's all tight, you're just going to go ahead and take this tool off. And your mesh is all set to go. That is worth alone getting this motor mount. I really like this idea. All the screws that you guys need to install this. On the Hobby Wing, I am going to go ahead and use the screws to go ahead and screw the ESC to the plate. You can screw it down to the plate. I might be able to screw it down far up as I can, so I might be able to put the switch right here. We'll see. We're going to see how this installs. Right now, this is what I was talking about. If we were to take this plate, I got to see where that antenna wire is supposed to go. But it pretty much just goes right here. Bolts in the front, bolts in the back. We're going to have to take this stuff back off. So let's go ahead and put this in. I just want to see how this is going to sit. So it's going to sit right down in there just like that. And I'm kind of looking down, seeing if it's going to get in the way. The Vitavon cush shaft. And it doesn't look like it's going to get in the way. All right, so now let's get the other one squared on. It's going to go on one way, and that's going to be the flat side. It looks like you can use they give you the spot for 4 screws, which is great. You definitely want to use as many screws as possible. So I'm going to put a bit of Loctite. I don't think I can fit 4. I'm going to try and put all of them in, but I don't think we're going to be able to. It does look like you can use all 4. I think the other 2 go on the side, but that barely gives you enough threads to tighten it. So I just don't know if I want that on the side. I'm pretty sure you can use them for the side, but I'm going to use all 4 for the motor. And then I'm going to get some that are slightly longer, and I'm going to use those for the sides. Like that. There we go. It's not too bad. Now the 2 button heads, those are going to be on the top. They're going to screw in the top, and obviously the longer ones are going to screw through the bottom. Now I'm not going to cinch this down because we're going to have to check the mesh. I might do some of this off camera because I'm going to have to maneuver the truck around. I'm going to go ahead and put this in, mount it up, and get it nice and lined up. And then I'm going to go ahead and tighten it down. Now I am going to be using the screws that were supplied with the washers that I installed, which are right here, because it's still a good idea to use these. It just protects the chassis so the screws don't pull through. Let me go and bolt this down real quick, and I'm going to be using some Loctite to make sure this thing stays put. All right, I'll kind of zoom in so you guys can see it. I did not use the screws that M2C supplied. I went ahead and used my own. Man, guys, it is getting hot in here. Weather's definitely getting hotter. All right, so I did not use the screws that M2C supplied, and the only reason why I didn't use those screws is because, like I said, I'm still using those spacers, and I still had a lot of thread left over. Now, as you can see, I'll zoom in right here. As you can see, now this screw is almost flush with the top of this bracket. Before it was about halfway. So I didn't add too much, just use a screw that's a little bit longer if you're using those washers, and you'll be just fine. You may have a lot of clearance between obviously the screw and the motor depending on your mesh. So just use a screw that works. If you're only using half the threads, I would definitely put a bigger screw in it because you don't want to risk having any issues. With the screws that I took out and didn't use, I can use those for the side. So that actually works out really well. So I'm going to use those for the side. Now that I got that in, I'm going to go and drop this motor in and see right there, I'm going to have to move it out just a little bit. While I'm in here, I'm just going to go ahead and move this out. Let's go ahead and I'm going to take this back off and I'm going to put some Loctite on not just the motor shaft, but also I'm going to put more Loctite on the set screw. And we're going to adjust from here, right there. So I like it right there. Make sure it's nice and tight. Now that it's tight, I'm going to pull it back out and I'm going to wipe off all the excess Loctite. I make sure I put a lot on because the last thing you want is this thing to come loose. Drop it in. Look at that. Oh my God, guys. I'm telling you right now, this is going to make life a lot easier because this is just so much simpler. I mean, there's really no guesswork in this. The way that M2C designs it is just amazing. I really do appreciate the work that they do. I do have that Vitavon support bearing right there. The shaft needs to go all the way to this side. Now, if you do that, you're going to be just fine. This gear ratio is perfect for this. Fits right on top and I can go in and adjust it from there. So I don't have to move anything else around. I got plenty of clearance in the back. I'm not worried about any of that. Now I kind of wonder with that motor mount, yeah, I ran into the same problem. There's no room to put the ESC. So, which is fine because I already planned on putting that bracket on. Now, just so you guys know, I am going to put the fan on in a different video to kind of save some time during this installation. So I'm going to put that fan on in a different video and show you guys how to do that. Let's go ahead and throw that plate on. But what we're going to have to do first is we're going to have to move this antenna. So we're going to have to take this stuff apart because I'm going to have to loosen the antenna because this is not where the antenna is going to go. Set screw out for the antenna. Let's go and pop this cover off. Put this cover aside. Now what we're going to have to do here is, yeah, take a little bit out right there. And for the antenna, I'm going to take a little bit out, probably right there, because we're going to have to relocate this. So this bracket is going to have to go right here. So these screws are going to have to come out, and it's going to sit on here just like that. So as you guys can see, that antenna is going to have to be moved, and they do have a couple extra holes right here that I might go ahead and utilize. We'll probably put the antenna through this one, which is perfect. Anywhere you can put the antenna will work just fine. Let's fit this on top. What I went ahead and did and put some double-sided tape right here. Now I'm not going to peel. I just want that for a little bit of cushion when I mount this, just to absorb some of the shock that this might take. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this motor out. You're going to use the ones in the center, not the ones on the edges. So right there. Now with the screws that it came with, make sure you guys are using the tapered screws because the bottom of this is tapered and they do give you different screws to use with this. Now just on a side note, they do give you 3 different sizes, but they only give you 3, 3, and 3. So just make sure you pick the right size. I can take my switch and I can go ahead and mount it right there. And I can tie these wires together to keep them out of the way. There we go. All right, threw on my cover. Now I got my antenna wire down here. I'm gonna secure those wires later, but for now, let's go and put the antenna through here. The new supplied hardware, they're much longer. I think they have a little bit of shank on them. So let's go and put those in. There, and I got those started. Now we can go ahead and tighten the other ones down. And like I said, depending on where you have your motor mount set up is the holes that you're going to use in the mount. Now that that's set up, now we'll go ahead and drop the motor in so we can kind of see where it's going to go. Just like that. Slides right in. Look how much extra room you have. I'll probably fold them down and just tighten them down to something. I'm not too worried about it, and would be obviously easier to flip this around. All right, guys, so I swapped this around. I like this better. I went in and swapped it around because now when I put these wires, I'll probably do it like this. That way these wires can come over here and it's not so bunched up. And this wire will fit just fine right there. And I'll wire this up and make this look really, really nice. So I kind of like that a little bit better. Don't forget, it does come with these tiny washers. Go ahead and install those on each of the screws that you're installing. They give you plenty of these, so definitely use them. Let's go ahead and set our mesh. And once the mesh is set, let's go ahead and get our plugs on. All right, I'm gonna do my best to kind of show you guys this really cool tool. What you're gonna do is take the ball of this tool and you're gonna put it in the slot of that mount. And there's notches in here, and that's gonna cover these 2 bolts right here. So we're gonna put that in, just like that. As you can see, actually the mesh ain't that bad, but if we were to turn this, see how it's raising the motor? It's kind of hard to see, but it's raising the motor. Now look at the mesh. If I raise it even more, look at all that. Whenever you lower it, you may have to push it down a little bit to get the motor to drop. Yes. So right there, I'm gonna drop it a little more. Maybe a little more. That's actually really good. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cinch this up just a little bit, and you can access these right through the side here and tighten both these up. And then once they're tight, we can double check. Right there, it did not change. I'm gonna cinch it down the rest of the way and slide it out, just like that. And I would leave this in here, and it's got a nice little lanyard, and I would just hang it up so you don't lose it, because this is a great, great tool for adjusting your mesh. All right, let me see if I can't zoom in just a little bit for you guys. Oh, that looks way better. So if you guys see, right there, I could probably loosen a little bit more, but I'm actually gonna see how that works because I like the way it sounds. So, I mean, I could probably loosen up a little bit, but that's actually not bad. All right, let's get these connectors on. I already put some flux on. Now, I hope I learned my lesson from the last time I did this. Still trying to figure out the temp here, but I was definitely not hot enough, and that's for sure. So I'm definitely going to have to increase the temperature. Nice and shiny right there. I definitely got a lot of flux on it, and it's very, very tight. Much better than the last one I did. So now if you guys notice, I had to tie my jig up right here. That helped tremendously. I wish there was a better way to, or a better jig. If you guys have a better jig, let me know. This one so far has probably worked the best because it's more universal. So I really like the way this one works. All right, so that looks pretty good. I got that zip tied right here and right here. So what I'm probably gonna do is put them more forward like this and then put a piece of foam on this side. Yeah, I'll probably leave the connectors facing outwards like that. I still have a gap right here and it's not even over yet. So I'm not sure about that because this battery cable right there, I don't like that because I don't want to hurt the cable. So what I may have to do is just for now is put a little bit of foam on each side to keep the wires right there, because that way the wires are safe and they're not going to get damaged by this notch right here. But guys, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to have to go to straps, which is completely fine. Gives me more options if I go with straps anyways, just like I did with the sledge. Remember, these are the 6800 4S. These, I don't know how long these are going to last because they are rated 120C. We'll have to see how long they last. This came out great. I love the motor mount. That came out great. And I'm really glad this is all done and I don't have to worry about anything. I just want to go over this real quick with you. I know we went from the Bauhaus to the Vitavon, and the Vitavon I only used for literally maybe 5 minutes because we were having issues with the actual setup of it. And it kind of sucks because I can't use the fan mount, which this would have been awesome. The problem is, and here's the other piece. That's the piece that I found. This is the GPM support, and as you guys saw from the Vitavon, it's a massive size difference. So the one that I just put in from Vitavon, it's definitely going to be a lot better. It's going to give a lot more support than the GPM. Not that there's anything wrong with the GPM. If you're not running the big mod 1.5 gears, you're not going to have any issues. So I wouldn't worry too much about this. Now the problem with the Bauhaus, you got this notch right here. This gets in the way and then you can't adjust anymore, because it sits and it stops it right about there. The only gears I was able to run with this was gonna be the 2050. If I wanted to run the 2046, there's no way I can adjust the mesh. The only way to adjust the mesh is to take this guy out, which I did, and this is the end result. So it didn't really work out. Now with the Vitavon, this is a great motor mount. I don't like where the adjustment is because that does make it kind of a pain to make the adjustment. The only way to fix that would be to put some bolts right here so you can actually use maybe a box and wrench to get down there and adjust it. Other than that, this isn't a bad motor mount. It's a solid motor mount. It's nice and light, very, very solid. And I do love this concept, but the only problem is using this with the Max 6, the ESC gets in the way. And when the ESC gets in the way and I don't have a place to put the ESC, I have to use, and you know what? I did find a 3D print of something like this for the ESC. The only problem is when you start doing that kind of stuff, to me, it starts to look a little cheesy, and I wanted it done right. So the only way to do that was to put the M2C ESC plate. It's almost worth it just to go with the M2C motor mount, because as you saw with the M2C motor mount, it secures on top of that plate. It gives it more of a structural reinforcement because it's going across the top and the bottom. So it's actually more secure, and you can definitely feel how much more secure that is. And like I said, the M2C ESC plate, it won't fit with this one, and it might fit with this one, because if you notice, look up how much shorter this is. Look how much shorter that is. So there's a possibility I could have used it with the Bauhaus, but like I said, if I'm going to use that support from Vitavon, I'm not going to be able to use this mount because I'm not going to be able to adjust the gear. So it's a give and take. And the reason why I did this was to show you guys, in case you guys are running into this problem, or if you guys are going to go out and buy a bunch of parts and they're going to be wrong, at least you guys will understand what you're going to have to do to make this kind of system fit. If you guys are going to run the Max 6 with the same setup that I have, you do not need mod 1.5 gears. What I did was I upped that punch level and I dropped that spur gear to a 46. So I was running a 2046 and I upped the turbo timing. So that motor was really, really rocking to the point where it actually flexed the spur gear. And as you guys can see, it's not even straight anymore. So it destroyed this. Now, if I would have still had the support on, I still think I would have ruined the gears because of how much flex it was giving this. If you didn't up the punch and you were running it like normal, you'd be fine with the mod 1.0. You don't need the mod 1.5 and you would have been just fine. But if you're gonna want that extra power, you're gonna have to spend that extra money, get the mod 1.5 gears, and then you're gonna have to start changing these mounts. In the end, I think it's worth it. We're gonna know in a minute how this thing runs, but I just wanted to go over that with you guys. If you guys have any questions, let me know. I'm still testing things out. I'm still seeing what works, but I think we're getting to the point where we're not gonna have any problems. Now, if I were to lower the punch on this and just run it as normal, with these gears and this setup now, I'm not gonna be breaking anything. This Xmaxx is gonna be pretty bulletproof. I mean, I'm not sure about the bulkheads, but I am gonna put a lower chassis brace on, which will eliminate that issue too. Let's go and charge up some batteries. Let's go see how loud this thing is. All right, so we're here at the track. As you can see, I did put some foam in the sides to kind of cushion it. Everything's set up, punch is level 7, haven't adjusted anything else on it. So let's just take it for a little rip and see how it works. And it jumps out like it's nothing. It's definitely loud. Not as loud as I thought it was gonna be. Whoa, there's a lot of dips over here. Yeah, those foams are popping out. I'm definitely gonna switch the straps. Woo! Oh my God! There goes the foam pads. You know, I'm not even at half throttle yet. Let's pick up these pieces. Oh, that sent. That was too easy. I blipped the throttle. Okay, again, I blipped the throttle a little more. Oh, this thing's stupid now. This thing is stupid now. Oh, almost saved it. Well, this was just a little rip. As you guys saw, I'm honestly not on the throttle all the way. This is really, I'm gonna have to adjust the punch down just to make it more controllable. But I am extremely happy with it. Doesn't sound too loud. The gears look okay. I'm gonna run it a little bit longer in the next video and do a bash. Maybe do a bash with the XRT, but extremely happy with it. You guys wanna pop it open real quick? Just to check it out. The batteries are what's making the difference. The batteries are giving it so much extra power that I'm gonna have to tone it down. And I'm definitely gonna have to put the belted tires on this, but I think with the belted tires, I think I'm still gonna be able to do a lot of tricks with it, so I'm not gonna have to worry too much about blowing tires. But these tires, these are gonna get blown up. These are the non-belted right now, so those aren't gonna be able to handle the force that this thing has. But wow, extremely happy with it. Let's check out those gears. If you guys can see that. I'm just looking at the teeth pattern right now. Yeah, everything looks good. I don't see anything on the edges. Everything looks pretty clean. So, all right, let's take it back to the shop and go over a little more. All right, guys, well, that'll do it. That turned out great. A lot of crashes, but this thing has far too much power now. Far too much power. I think I need to put the punch down to default, which is 5. It was at 7. With those gears and those batteries, it has got way too much power, and I'm being serious about way too much power. I want to be able to control it the way I want to control it, so that way I have a little bit better air correction and throttle response the way that I drive. This is too much. This is far too much. I was worried about blowing the tires out during a couple of those doubles. So I'm gonna have to tone it down. I went ahead and put red Loctite on that pinion because it walked off. I noticed when I was loosening it to take it off, it was loose. So it definitely, the Loctite did not hold. I was using COWRC Loctite and I decided just to go ahead and put red on it. So it shouldn't come loose now. I am gonna use battery straps. I'm gonna find some battery straps so that way these batteries are better secured. After all the woes that we had with the electronics, between this and the Sledge, wow. I'm still gonna give it to the Sledge as one of my favorite cars. Once I get that clip from GPM to help hold this body on so it doesn't keep falling off, this will be my favorite RC car. I know that's kind of out there saying after I get the clip on there, but honestly, anytime I take a landing, even if it's just landing on all fours and it hits hard enough, the body comes loose. And honestly, that is a big headache. That body should not be coming loose. Once I get that on and make sure this body is secure and doesn't come off anymore, yes, definitely one of my favorite trucks and probably my all-time favorite RC car. Definitely. Right behind the Sledge though. The Sledge is amazing. I love the Sledge. Hope this helped you out. I know there's a lot of information, but I wanted to make sure you guys knew what we were doing, the parts we were using, and why we switched parts. It came out great. It's ready to rock and roll. Make sure you guys check out our Patreon. It really helps the channel. And definitely like and subscribe to this video. We're over 13,000 subs now. I'm so happy. Our goal is 20,000 subs. You guys are gonna help us get there. We got a lot of verses. We're gonna be lining up the verses videos. So you guys leave a comment down which verses you wanna see first that you haven't already seen. Thank you guys for watching. See you in the next one.